for the Ryan Day portion of all of this, and I got to plead my ignorance, Ohio State fans. So shame on me, but we'll catch up to it at some point. I had expected to over the weekend, but what was the most poignant out of the national championship head coach?
Yeah, he spoke for about 30 minutes and kind of put a bow on everything that happened, obviously, with the playoff and looking forward, obviously, for 2025. And because the season went till January the 20th, they were late getting started with winter workouts and will not start spring practice until this coming Monday. Usually they would have started it last Monday, practice for a week, then have spring break this week, then come back and have the last 4 weeks of spring practice after that. Instead, they're going to have their 15 practice sessions sprinkled over those 4 weeks. But, when you think about it, when they got to play essentially an extra game or 3 games from December the 20th when they played Tennessee all the way to January the 20th, or give or take the days when they played Notre Dame, they had a lot of practices in there. So I think that there has been a lot of football that's been played and practiced by all these guys. And now Coach Day has talked about how they're splitting the team into 3 groups. The group of guys who played a lot of football are probably going to be on a very short play count during spring ball. Then you'll have the guys in the middle group who really need to play a lot of football this spring to get ready to become starters because you have so many open spots. So those guys will get a lot of work. And then the third group is the 21 incoming freshmen, the 5 or 6 transfers from other schools that are on the roster. And those guys will also get a ton of work. He thought with 3 quarterbacks that they would have 3 fields going at some instances with some type of 11 on 11, I presume, on 3 different fields. So that would be pretty amazing if they're able to do that and get all 3 of those quarterbacks, Julian Sayin, Lincoln Keenholz, and Tavian St. Clair, as much work as they possibly can. It seems like Sayin has got the inside track, and he did talk a little bit about Sayin, but obviously also talked about his new hirings with Matt Patricia at defensive coordinator, Billy Fessler being upgraded from a program assistant to the quarterback's coach, and Tyler Bowen becoming the new offensive line coach and run game coordinator to help out Brian Hartline, the new offensive coordinator. So there was a lot there. One of the pointed questions he was asked about Matt Patricia, I think if you go in his Wikipedia, you will note that there were some type of allegations against him made by a I don't know, I guess a partner years ago, sexual assault allegations perhaps. And he said that he was never charged in connection with that incident, and said that Ross Bjork was involved in vetting Matt Patricia and getting to the bottom of where things stood. So, you look at it, so much news came out of that session on Friday, and we're going to continue to report it all this week leading up to the start of practice on Monday.
Tony, the Ryan Day portion of all of this for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was good to finally get to talk to him about his new hires and why he wanted those guys, and the Matt Patricia thing in terms of how do you know that was him in New England and not just Bill Belichick. And said, well, you talked to a lot of people about that. One of the guys he talked to was former Buckeye Nate Ebner, who played for the Pats back then, and he just talked to as many people about Matt Patricia as possible. But then also you talk to Matt Patricia, and obviously everybody knows he's a really smart guy, and so you see if it fits. And with the melding of the NFL style and college football style, all kind of like the NFL style of football is looking more and more like college football, and the college football playoff and the personnel wise and the acquisition of players is looking more and more like the NFL. You're not so much worried about the NFL coach working in college and the college coach working in the NFL because it's all looking pretty similar. So he's confident that Patricia will be able to recruit, and we'll get to Patricia later, but he's certainly excited about the possibilities of recruiting for Ohio State. I did ask Dave what you're going to do, like what do the reps look like, and as Steve said, they're just going to roll them. They're going to just keep rolling the quarterbacks, and sometimes Julian Sane will be at the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s, just like Will Howard was, so they'll all get their reps, and I think that's fantastic news for Tavian St. Clair, who is going to probably get as many reps this spring as Will Howard did last year. So that's going to be, just based on the numbers, because they had 5 quarterbacks last year in the spring. And there are times where Aaron Noland was not even with the quarterbacks. He was the guy throwing the ball to the running backs when they're working on routes. And so you've got these 3 quarterbacks, and they're all going to be able to work together and just roll. And that's going to be huge for St. Clair. It's going to be great for Lincoln Keenholz as well. And in terms of Billy Fessler, like one of the things he told Billy Fessler is just bring value to your position, no matter what your position is. And as the assistant quarterbacks coach, he did that last year, because while Chip Kelly was off doing his coordinator stuff, it was Billy Fessler as the quarterbacks coach. And we'll get to Billy Fessler later on, but just talking with him and about all of the things that he did with the quarterbacks, Day is very confident in him because, one, he coaches quarterbacks the way Day wants, and so that's the biggest qualification you can have. And he didn't have to bring anybody from the outside and teach them how he wanted his quarterbacks taught. Billy Fessler was already there, so I thought that was interesting. And just overall, as I skimmed through some of these updates, the Tyler Bowen hire, he expects recruiting to pick up greatly, which they need on the offensive line, even though they just lost an Ohio kid to Clemson and Adam Guthrie. But there's still time there. I don't know that they're going to get him back, but it's still early for Tyler Bowen. So don't start, writing him off as a recruiter just yet. I'm not even sure he's moved into his house. But yeah, it was just good to talk to you, Day, about everything, because again, the majority of the beat, the assembled masses of the beat, haven't talked to him since the day after the national championship game.
Did Tyler Bowen in fact speak? He did?
Yes, unfortunately, he spoke at the exact same time as Matt Patricia. So like there were 3 tables on the indoor, and so there were 3 coaches going at the same time. And so I never was over with Tyler Bowen because I was with Matt Patricia the entire time. So it was like Matt Patricia, I think Tim Walton and Tyler Bowen going on. They were like the first 3 coaches to go. But I have gone through and looked at much of the transcript of Tyler Bowen and things like that. So I don't know, Steve, were you over there at all with him?
I really was not. Our YouTube page has got, I'm sure yours has it as well, all 11 of the videos, Day and the 10 assistant coaches. I'm sure you guys probably have all the video of all the tables. They had 3 tables going at once with the assistant coaches, and Keenan Bailey was the odd man out who had to stick around after the session to be the 10th guy. 10 divided by 3 is 3.33333333333. So he was the extra guy who, when they did a line change, he was the last guy in. But yeah, it was. I did not participate with Bowen. I was kind of watching more Patricia. And I'll be fascinated to see, one, how he assimilates to college football schematically, also in terms of recruiting. Is this just a 1-year thing before he heads back somewhere as an NFL defensive coordinator next year, or what is this going to be? So I guess we'll see how it all plays out. But for him and Bowen, they're going to spend the spring just getting to know, matching numbers with names and that type of thing to be able to coach these players. So I think it's going to be an exciting time, I think. And you have a fresh set of eyes, especially on the offensive line. Maybe he'll have a different idea of how everything should go. If they decide that, their 4 best offensive linemen are Sierraveld, Montgomery, Hinsman, and Shabola, then maybe one of those 4 moves out to tackle. And, they just add whoever is the other tackle, perhaps the transfer Anianwa from Rice or Philip Daniels from Minnesota, or whoever it may be. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. As Tony said, I don't know that we're going to learn a whole lot position wise in the first couple of weeks, but maybe by weeks 3 and 4, they'll have a better idea how it could line up.
Yeah, I mean, I posted this on our message board, Buckeye Huddle message board last night. I was told that don't be surprised if Austin Searveld opens spring as the left tackle and Ethan Onianwa is over at right tackle. So we'll see. I think that's maybe one of the plans right now. But again, that's going to be fluid throughout spring in terms of moving guys around and seeing what they can handle and what they can't.